This is the greatest ever. I've never seen anything like this. Everything was boring. Watergate, Whitewater, impeachments, boring. This is the greatest country, the greatest race. This is the greatest. Are you following this? My friends, this evening, for those of you who are members of Lionel Nation, the members, and by the way, thank you. I dropped that sounded weird. I hope Biden never says it. I dropped a what? No. Okay. I dropped a video today. I did a compilation and I made a juxtaposition of this event and the dead parrot routine. The dead parrot sketch, 1971 or whatever it was. It absolutely is the greatest story ever. Noel Taylor, thank you. Noel joins us. Remember that? It's dead. They called it a Norwegian blue. There's no parrots in Norway. Anyway, it's a macaw. Anyway, I did a little research on it. But it was dead. Remember, he goes, it's not dead, it's stunned. He goes, it's no more. It ceases to exist. It doesn't exist. It is just what is happening. They're talking about doing testing. Did you see Karine Jean-Pierre lose her over this whole thing? And when Biden loses it, he really does. Where else can you do incontinence jokes? Did you ever think you would live for a time, and you know how I love anything involving, did you ever think you would live during a time when you would be making incontinence and depends jokes about a president, where you call Dr. Jill Nurse Jill? Everything is coming apart. What is this about? Where is this going? Listen to this. Here's a new one. I've got so many tabs open. Oh my God, it's so much. Here's the best number. You ready for this? First, there are 120 days until the election. Okay, you ready? Well, listen to this. There are 42 days until the beginning of the Democratic convention. August 19th, 42 days. What are they doing? What? They're talking about a blitz. A blitz primary? What the hell does that mean? They don't know. A blitz primary? A what? What are you talking about? A blitz primary? A what? It doesn't make any sense. It is the most incredible story ever. Tell me you understand this. Tell me. This is the end of the Democratic Party. This is the end of legacy sock puppet media. It's the end of it. Down ballot. The Democrats are saying, do something. Do something. You've got an old coot who has locked himself, basically barricaded himself in the White House, and he says, I'm not leaving. Come on, Joe. Come out with your hands up. I'm not leaving. It's like they're going to have they're going to play Take Me Alive. Play Take Me Alive by Steely Dan. Here's the best one. Do you understand? This is the fellow who said, and this party said, Donald Trump would not leave. He wouldn't leave if he wasn't elected. This son of a gun won't leave and nobody wants him. Let me tell you this much, except for Joe and Meager, who have lost the last molecule, the last atom, the last interstitial component of their lives. It's over. Ladies and gentlemen, it is over. He goes by the name Clone as Steve Dreamkiller. I saw a patient today in Midtown today. He has Lewy body dementia. Guess what he said? You know Lionel on YouTube? He thinks Biden has what I have. 100% truth. Wow. Wow. I wish the best for your patient. Please give him my best. Please know that I am not mocking. Isn't that something? We're talking about something which is very, 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 very serious here. Very serious. We're not mocking. We're not mocking this. These people who have these diseases, whether it's, and you know, Doc, you know, whether it's Parkinson's dementia, whether it's Alzheimer's, whether it's Lewy body dementia. In fact, as you know, years ago in the 50s and 70s, they used to call it senile dementia. I love listening to doctor updates when neurologists get their credentials. I like to listen, doctors speaking to doctors. I don't want to hear, I want to hear this. It is fascinating. This, what is it called? Synuclein, these entanglements, not the amyloids, but there's always this goop and gunk, like CTE has tau proteins and tangles. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say something to you. Listen to me while we're on it. Don't let your kids play football. Don't let your kids play soccer. Don't let them take headers. If you shake it, you break it. And you ain't the same when the air hits your brain. Don't let them do this. And another thing, stop smoking this killer weed. This is not good for you. We're not playing around. I'm not trying to be, do you see this? There's going to come a time in your life when you're going to want to say to yourself, hey, I wish I remember that joke. I wish names came to me better. On a lighter note, you want to hear anyway, two old guys are talking. And one guy says, I went to the best restaurant last night. It was fantastic. He says, what's the name of it? He says, oh God. He said, what do you call that flower with the red petals and long stem and the thorns? It smells good, and you give it to somebody when you would fall in love. What's the name of the flower? He goes, Rose. He goes, yeah, Rose. Rose. What's the name of the restaurant we went to? Now we joke about that, but it's not funny. Evan Webb said the original Dead Parrot skit ends with a gay hookup joke. Also, the words being split up with spaces is some YouTube glitch you must edit. Well, apparently you've got through that one without any problem. And I'm not going to edit it. I like it. I like the style. KN says, could you imagine the amount of pain it must be for the presidential interpreter? That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. What he's like, what? And for him to kind of convey normally the Amasalan, interpreter tries to mimic the feel for it. But how does the interpreter curl his hands up? I don't mean to joke about this. You threw me off there, Clona Steve. Or Clonopin Steve. Today, she went berserk. Did you see what happens? It's getting old to the wig. Bless her heart. Chaos erupts. Monday's press conference devolved, fell apart into chaos as Karine Jean-Pierre repeatedly refused, declined, and avoided altogether why a Parkinson's disease expert visited the White House so many times this year. White House press folks are once again badgering her over Biden's cognitive decline. A Parkinson's disease specialist visited the White House 10 times going back to November 2022, according to these visitor logs. The Parkinson's expert visited the White House 8 times in 8 months. Why Parkinson's? Parkinson's, dementia, Parkinson's. Do you see any type of doctor? Do you see any kind of tremor, any type of Parkinson's? In any event, AP's Zeke Miller asked Karine Jean-Pierre about Biden's health problems, and things went downhill. My first view is on the credibility of the White House when it comes to talking about the president's health, he said. And she went nuts. And Zeke Miller pressed her. Well, rather than me tell you what happened, let me show you what happened. Let me show you with the magic of this thing called the radio. I don't know why I said that. Let's see what the wig has to say. Oops. Hang on. Wait a minute. There we go. Wait a minute. Hold on. There we go.
It's a very basic, direct question.
Wait. Hold on. Wait a second.
Eight times, or at least once, in regards to the president specifically.
Hold on a second.
That's what you should be able to answer by this point.
Wait, no. No, wait a minute. Ed, please.
There's Ed.
A little respect here, please. So every year, around the president's physical examination, he sees a neurologist. That's 3 times, right? So I am telling you that he has seen a neurologist 3 times while he has been in this presidency. That's what I'm saying.
Only 3?
I'm telling you that he has seen them 3 times. That is what I'm sharing with you.
Now, wait a minute. Neurologist. Remember, the neurologist. Is the guy he saw technically a neurologist? And did he see him? Listen to how she plays with the words. Did he examine him? Was it for the purpose of a checkup? Or did he come by to say hi? Or did he merely talk to him? What kind of an examination does a neurologist do? Isn't it talking? Do you say, do you have, look at my fingers and can you lift up a leg or can you show balance or whatever it is? Listen to how she obfuscates. She finagles around the truth.
Right? So every time he has a physical, he has had to see a neurologist. So that is answering that question.
No, it's not.
No, it is. It is. You're
Dr.
asking
Kevin
me.
Kennard, come to the White House.
But I also said to you,
condition.
Ed, I also said to you, for security reasons, we cannot share names. We cannot share names. We have to.
Others he would have met with.
We
But
cannot.
You can share names in regards to if someone came here in regards to the president.
We cannot share names of specialists broadly, from a dermatologist
Why not?
to a neurologist. We cannot share names. There are security reasons. We have to protect.
It's public.
I understand that. I hear
He's
you.
right there for anyone to see.
Ed, I hear you. I cannot from here confirm any of that because we have to keep their privacy.
Because I'm lying.
I think they would appreciate that too. We have to give them.
Because I'm a liar.
We have to keep their privacy.
It is
It's
public.
public information.
I
It is
hear you.
listed that he went to
And you're
the
going to allow this to
guys,
fester longer, Karine, unless the White House answers the question.
hold on a second. There's no reason to go back and forth with me in this.
Are you watching this? You remember Ron Ziegler? Do you remember any Fleischer? Did you remember any of this stuff ever? When was the last time you heard somebody scream about, did he talk to a neurologist? Not what's happening in Europe, what happened with Ukraine, what's happening in World War II. No. Neurology talk? This is unreal.
Miffed around here about how information's been shared with the press corps about him.
What do you missed about? What do you miss
Everything
about?
he just asked about.
And then every time I come back and I answer the question that you guys asked.
Correctly, you didn't have to come back and clean it up.
I never
2 days
answered the
later.
question incorrectly. That is not true. I was asked about a medical exam. I was asked about a physical.
I didn't
That
answer
was in
the
the line of question that I answered. And I said, no, he did not have a medical exam. And I still stand by that. Matter of fact, the president still stands by that. He had a verbal check-in. That is something that the president has a couple times a week.
A verbal check-in. Did you hear that? Now it's a verbal check-in. That's not an examination. It was just a verbal check-in. Say something. Repeat the alphabet. Just a verbal check-in. The lying, the obfuscation, the mendacity, the prevarication. Unbelievable.
A couple times a week.
Now in regards to Dr. Kevin Kennard.
And I am telling you right now that I am not sharing confirming names from
So
here.
that's the guy's name.
It is a security reasons. I am not going to do that, Ed. It doesn't matter how hard you push me. It doesn't matter how angry you get with me. I'm not going to confirm a name. It doesn't matter if it's even in the log. I am not going to do that from here. That is not something I am going to do. What I can share with you is that the president has seen a neurologist for his physical 3 times.
What's the result? What's the result? That's the next question. What were the results? Let's see them. And he should waive any kind of confidentiality or HIPAA or anything else for that matter. We don't care about whether he went. What's the result?
3 times. And it is in the reporting that we share a comprehensive reporting. Matter of fact, it's more than what the last guy shared. And it is in line with what George W. Bush did. It's in line with what Obama did. And so it is comprehensive. It is out there. I just read a quote from it, but I am not.
What's the result?
I am not going to devolve somebody's name or
fine.
confirm someone. I'm not going to do that.
What about the result?
That is as privacy for that person.
What about the
I'm not
result?
going to do that. It doesn't matter how hard you push me. It doesn't matter how angry you get with me from here.
Come on. You know what she's trying to do? She's trying to show you, like, look at me. I'm standing on principle. Look at me. I've been answering the question. K-Boy says, are we being set up by the media? Yes. Yes, we are. Yes, we are, my friend. We are being set up like you cannot believe. Yes, we are being set up. Yes, we are being set up. Absolutely. Now, I just want you to tell me, you know what's going on here, that you grasp this. This is the most beautiful thing in the world, because this is the Democratic Party, the legacy sock puppet media are being disengaged, disconnected. This debacle, this horror show, this unnecessary horror show, because Joe Biden is barricaded in the White House. And it started from a debate, 6/27. Throw that in with October the 7th, 10/7, or 9/11, or 7/11, or December the 7th. 6/27. June 27th was the day that lives in infamy. This is the day when people, for some reason, finally understood what we have been saying forever. I don't know why it took them so long. The same reason why they didn't notice Hillary Clinton, who was head jerking and wearing the they didn't lift a finger, and the Republicans didn't either. It all changed there, my friends. It was for generations, for generations, this bought and sold sock puppet, rancid, this conspiracy media have been accomplices. They've been co-conspirators, aiding and abetting the lies. But in the last, 10 days or so, it is finally, people are recognizing that this is propaganda, that these media institutions, and that's why Joe Scarborough, and that ditz don't understand what they're doing. They should back off from this, but in their own twisted and demented minds, they feel that somehow maybe this is going to help them in the long run. The public recognizes what's happening. This compliant conspiracy between legacy or sock puppet media and the Democratic Party has helped to help transform us into the you-know-what hole of all time. During COVID, during moments of rioting, during domestic terrorists, of shock troops, of Antifa, actually coming into our cities and destroying private property. They covered for them. They covered for BLM. They covered by elevating through this apotheosis, through this deification, this criminal fentanyl addict thug of George Floyd. And they were complicit. They were complicit in everything. It's the most incredible. From the days of Obamacare, you name it, they have been the proxy. They have been part and parcel. They have been the left and right, the cis and trans, the yin and yang, these chiral compatriots. They've also sat back and let this federalization and this criminalization of truth in this weird administrative bureaucracy that we live in. They were absolutely responsible for the advance of this administrative state, and how they sat back and allowed our personal freedoms and our personal abilities to speak. They sat back and just watched, clueless. Finally, America finally is seeing that these rats, these co-conspirators, these felonious, they're not journalists. They're agents of this. They're apparats. It's horrid. It's beyond anything I ever could have imagined. Ever. I never thought it, but finally we're waking up. And it seemed that for the longest time, they either wanted to divert attention or obfuscate, and now they're fighting back. Now they're fighting back for some reason. I don't know why, because they feel, offended? For some reason, they're fighting back. And they're coming back at Joe. And it's Joe, Karine Jean-Pierre, and she's getting tired of this. And somebody's going to be telling her, I'll bet you anything, that Jen Psaki is saying, listen, the longer you stay with them, you're going to be blackballed. You're going to have that funk and the taint and the stain and this indelible scarring from being a part of this conspiracy. You better leave, and leave quick. Bring in the guy with the dress. What's his name? Tyler, or whatever his name. Well, whoever this guy was, the one that was dancing around. Bring him and bring anybody. Get out of there, KGB. Get out of there. They're going to bring you down. They've got nobody. Let me say this. There is nobody on the side of Biden. And these rat bastards are so feckless, so implicit, so gutless, that this black radio lawless, or whatever her name is, Andrea in Philly, she basically followed their orders, read some of the suggested questions. They fired her. And Joe and the nurse didn't do anything to say, wait a minute, hold it. They did what we told her. Do not fire her. I take responsibility. They don't care. They don't care. Joe, don't feel sorry for Joe. He is a cutthroat, ruthless. He is. Did you ever hear what they did to Jill's husband? When basically he stole her. Well, listen, you know and I know. Nobody ever steals a wife. The wife is complicit. This guy goes back. He's ruthless. He's cold-blooded. Look what he did to Clarence Thomas. He deserves everything. And while you should feel sorry for anybody who was afflicted with some degenerative disease or any kind of dementia, yes, but get rid of him. Grind him into dust. And I'm also finding out, and you know this as well, it depends if you look at this, but they're also finding out that, believe it or not, the DOJ is getting so pissed at him. So pissed at him. And they're telling him, Joe, we're not going to help you anymore. Thank you, roller skating SAG actor, fellow SAG member. Thank you. K-Boy, thank you as well. And YouTube Sooks propagandist, thank you so much for that. I gave it a French flair. Oh, this is the most beautiful thing in the world. This is like nothing I've ever seen before. This is just incredible. I mean, you cannot believe this. If you needed, there was a wonderful piece I was reading today, and it was a piece from it was called AM Greatness. And it was a piece by Richard Truesdell and Keith Lehman. And there's this piece, and I paraphrase, is if you need a clear indication of what's going on here, watch the train wreck orchestrated by Mike Halperin on his two-way podcast. Halperin, once a Morning Joe regular on MSNBC with John Heilemann, was unceremoniously dumped in 2017 in the aftermath of sexual harassment allegations dating back to the early 2000s when he worked at ABC News. On the two-way podcast, Inside the Beltway Elites, consultants like Mark Katz, pollsters, now cover for each other as he tried to distance themselves from Biden and his administration after almost 4 years of sucking up. The 627 debate was it. You saw it. You couldn't believe your eyes. It was worse than anything anybody's ever seen. The way this man gasped and whispered and can't pronounce words, and they slur and they kind of compress together, and it was horrible. And you're saying, make it stop. And the Democrats can't get him to stop. They don't know what to do. The Democratic leadership. They don't go to the White House and say, you're going to leave now. They should push a button to turn off all the recording machines, because they still have them, and say, I don't think you know who we are. I don't think you know who we are. You know, Joe, at your age, stranger things have happened. Don't push this. Look around. You should know better, Joe. I don't know how to be any more subtle. Don't push these people. Believe me, you're making them look bad. And there comes a point where they might have to be more creative in finding a disposition and a solution to this problem that you may not like. L.J. Jackson says they've got nobody. My husband, Barefoot Cavalry, just said, have a Tampa. Do you guys know each other? Save Clarence Thomas. Come on, man. Have a Tampa, the cigar. Absolutely. Unbelievable. I'm still going crazy. Pilgrim Media says, how underhanded do they get towards November? Like you can't believe. Okay, it says a bizarre thought here. If there is a September debate, it would be like the OJ verdict. Town and Country, Tampa, way out there in Hillsborough. Not Hillsborough. Hillsborough. Or is it? Yeah. It's been, you know what? It's been so long because I've been in Tampa. I've got to think about it. I know it's out there. Used to be near Leroy Selman. You keep going out in the airport, the Town and Country, in any event. Oh, you have. Let me go through this again. Please don't think I'm being needlessly repetitious. Sometimes the glory of this has to be recited. There was a time in this country when there was leadership. They ran the show. LBJ, Tip O'Neill. Let me ask you this. For those of you wonderful people who think that for some reason you think that Barack Obama runs the show, Barack Obama doesn't run anything. Anything. Do you hear what I'm saying? He doesn't run anything. Nobody can tell him to stop. Nobody can do this. Think about what this means. Nobody can tell him. It's the most incredible thing in the world. They keep going and they keep having these meetings. And you got Jerry Nadler says this, and this one says this, and this, and Jen Psaki says this, and this one, and Rob Reiner. Oh my God, Rob Reiner. Oh my God, meathead. He doesn't like it. Nobody likes it. And they all keep saying this. And Joe says, I'm not leaving. They're looking at Obama and they're saying, wait a minute, I thought you were in charge. I thought you could do something. I thought you could do something, Obama. I thought you, come on, do something. Make him stop. I can't. What do you mean you can't? He's a crazy man holed up in his house. He's like some weird cat lady that they call the police on. They can't get him out of it. It's bizarre. Now, what's going to happen is simply this. Remember what I'm telling you. The level of danger to the Democratic Party is that people are getting tired of this. They understand. Let me tell you something. The best thing in the world is to be in a position where there's an issue that nobody understands, like Israel. Nobody understands that. Nobody understands that. People think that Israel started October the 7th. They have no clue. No clue. And that's the way Washington likes it. Don't look the other way. Same thing with Ukraine. They don't know. They don't know what's going on. They have no clue. We should be talking about what's happening. Has anybody even mentioned what's happening in France? What's happening in Europe? Right wing and left wing? No, because we're watching this. This they can understand. And when you get the public's attention, when something happens to be of such an interesting, when something becomes of such an obvious interest, and people say, oh, this one we get. It was like during the time, do you remember? During the time of the Clinton gate of Monica Lewinsky. Oh, they understood that one. They understand that one. And you see, you also got to realize this lie, this incredible lie, this podunk, golly gee whiz, oh shucks, ma'am, I'm just plain old Scranton Joe. Remember Amtrak Joe? He talked about this guy named Angelo. He's been a liar forever. And now they realize it. He's been a liar. Johnny Carson, who never ever said anything about anybody, called him a liar then. He's a liar. He lied about everything from his college records to scholarships. He doesn't even get straight that his son, Beau, did not die in Iraq. Robert Benoit says Trump should thank Biden for taking the heat off him. Trump should thank Biden for taking the heat off of him. Yeah, but remember, and I hope it's right, I hope Trump is smart enough just to sit back and say, not yet. Not yet. In wrestling, there's a term called blowing up. And part of a shoot is to show your opponent who's the boss. That full body slams and a lot of aerial stuff involves you working with your ring compatriot. In a full body slam, you push off. When you've got some 300-pound guy coming off the rope and he jumps up, he pushes off your shoulders, and then you do it. But if he decides, I'm going to teach you a lesson, I'm just going to sit, I'm going to let my dead weight just hang on you, you will blow up. You will exert all of your energy. The Ultimate Warrior did this. He would go off the ropes and be tired before So you've got to be very, very careful. You've got to watch what happens, but don't be involved in this. Just pace this right, President Trump. You don't have to do anything now. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. If anything, say the first thing you're going to do one of the first duties is you're going to meet with your Surgeon General, your science advisor, and you're going to allocate extra monies for the investigation and treatment and research into dementia and neurodegenerative diseases. You're going to show compassion. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to say anything. And then you can also do this one. You can say this, and I'm sure our doctor will tell you, that in the case of dementia, there's a sense of sometimes paranoia. There's a sense of feeling like you are the victim of conspiracies yourself. They're talking about me. They don't love me. They're trying to hurt me. And you can become more and more angry. And when the people that are helping you the most, the people who are feeding into the delusion, are Nurse Jill and Hunter Biden, do you Do you hear what I'm saying? Evan Webb says, who was minding the store? Do you see a way to end the deep state? And thanks, Lionel. The deep state, that will take a long time to get rid of the deep state, the police state, the shadow government, the big tech, info. I mean, all of this, including the ruling class. But first things first. But one of the things which is important to understand, listen to what I'm saying, and our doctor will verify this. In addition to everything else, you could say that Joe is not acting rationally. Aside from the neurological problems, aside from the dementia, the paranoia holed up in the White House. This is what they said about Nixon. This is what happened to Nixon. Remember when he was getting paranoid? I have to go and reconnect this later. I have to reconnect this. I have to stop what I'm doing and go back there and do all this stuff. They are doing something right now which is so serious. Think about what I'm telling you. This happened with Nixon when he wanted to call in the 82nd Airborne, or he wanted to call in. He was so paranoid. He was out of his tree, drinking heavily. So one of the things they can say in addition to everything else is that, yes, in addition to this cognitive problem, there is something else which is critical. And that is the fact that he is psychiatrically unsound. If you've ever had, any of you have seen members of your family who might have been in the throes of this, sometimes there's hypersexuality, anger, paranoia, getting angry, feeling like they're after me. Very, very, very quick, sometimes sudden. I mean, this is not anything to be played with. And do you mean to tell me, ladies and gentlemen, do you mean to tell me that both parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, in the case of a national emergency, this is like Dr. Strangelove almost. This is like when you have this lunatic who's in charge. Do you mean to tell me you can't do anything about this? CR says the Morning Joe interview, FJB was off the rails. You know what? I heard about this, and CR, maybe they were saying that he sounded like he was like in the John or something. He was repeating this. And to show you the insanity, Joe Scarborough and that stupid wife of his doesn't understand. You're not going to win this. Do you not understand? Everybody has abandoned him. I'm not going to help the guy out. Does his agent say, Joe, what are you doing? What are you doing? Let me tell you something. A lot of us were told specifically, you back off from Trump. Trump is going to destroy stuff. And we suffered. But not because he was crazy, not because he was wrong, but because he was right. You have no idea. I am so sorry. Forgive me, dear friends. Forgive me for this. I have no idea what happens. This is going crazy. Let me go back to my own story. Nobody cares about my own particular thing, but I'm going to tell you something right now. We suffered. We suffered by being a Trump supporter. We suffered like you cannot believe. I'm not going to go through it. We all suffered in our own ways, and I'm not going to compare my plight, my wife's plight, but we suffered. And it wasn't because he was crazy. It was because he was right. Thank you, Philip. Thank you. But what's interesting about these people and what this Joe Scarborough doesn't understand is that, Joe, you're an idiot. Nobody, everybody has completely backed off. Everybody has completely backed away from this. Let me say this again. Nobody is for him. No one. Let me try this again. No one is for Biden. Nobody in Washington. No one. Maybe you didn't hear me. Let me try it one more time. Nobody is with him. What is Joe Scarborough doing? The gig is up. The joke is up. This Joe from Scranton shtick, this nonsense. This, I'm a working class guy. And he worked to basically put into play and into power some of the most demented and dangerous, off the charts lunatics who did more to subvert and derail our beloved republic than anybody else. And then you've got this narcissistic family with this Jill with her Vogue magazine. She wants to be glamorous and glorious, and the doctor. She actually used the doctor to try to get some kind of, she admitted it, to get some kind of prestige or cachet. It was senator and Mrs. She wanted to be senator and doctor. This is the most incredible thing in the world. Jill and the media worked together to hide his escalating, exacerbating dementia. This is the most important. This and also, this is the best part too. Obama is a part of that, and so is Bill Clinton. They've known this from the beginning. They've known this. This is ridiculous. So don't give me this business about, well, Joe, who is it that Obama runs it? Obama doesn't run anything. There is hell to pay. The big money donors, the big folks don't understand this. George Keane says, I wish I could see the angels share of your show. The angels share of your show. I don't know what that means, but I like it. It sounds interesting. When you've got people, big shots, muckety mucks, the Wall Streeters, the hedge funders, the big shots, the people in Sun Valley and Hamptons, they're ruthless. They don't understand anything about loyalty, being nice to people. If they've got somebody, if their production is down, they cut them off at the knees. They don't understand any of this. They don't get any of this. None of this stuff makes any sense to them. None of them. And they're looking at Obama and they're saying, what the hell were you doing? You didn't know this? Well, who's your deep bench? Who's your plan B? I don't know. Who's in charge? Does anybody here know? Ask anybody right now. Ask somebody right now if they know anybody who's in charge of the Democratic Party. Ask them. Do you know anybody? I don't even know the names. I have no idea. And we'll get to the Republicans later because they're a complete waste of time. But they can take some time off now because this side is they are imploding. They are imploding. And everything that they do, if some idiot, you better hope and pray. If some operative, somebody decides, I know how to fix this. We know how to fix elections. And they pull this now, the gig will be forever exposed permanently. George King says, I remember when the Clintons came to power, fired all U.S. attorneys day one. Well, they always do that. Everybody does that. They ask for your letter of resignation as a matter of, this is pro forma. What will DJT do to win the post day one, like D-Day? Would you collect resumes to pass along for him from loyal supporters? Well, we'll get to that part. To be fair, that's what they do all the time. You serve at the pleasure of the presidency. And they already have this worked out. They have this worked out. They used to have all the judges, all the nominees. Federalist Society did this and others. They're ready to go with that. But understand something. Listen to me. Listen, are you listening? 42 days until the convention. 42 days. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? It's the most incredible thing I've ever heard in my life. What is going to happen? I don't understand any of this. Angel share is that part of a barrel of whiskey. Oh, that evaporates. Hence, angel share. It's the portion of your show no one will hear due to technical glitches. George, thank you for that. The angel share, the part of the barrel of whiskey that evaporates. I love that. You will not want to see what happens during these particular portions. Thank you, my good friend. Sean Lucas said, Mr. Lionel, really enjoying the crumb cake tonight. Thank you so much for all that you and Mrs. L do. Oh, Tuba Skinny rules. Aren't they great? Doesn't that make you listen to Go Back Home? I'm going back home. What is her name? Erica Lewis, I think her name is. Evan Webb, you two put in a chat summary. It popped up as soon as the feed came back. Interesting. I don't know what that means, but thank you for that. Now, let's go through this again, friends. Let's go through this again and let's look at what's happening. 42 days. And George, by the way, says, Angel Share said with love, you are a team of two. Indeed. Now, what happens? Number one, does Joe leave? They're missing valuable time. 42 days. He's already made his stand. He's already shown obfuscation, stubbornness, intransigence. He's already showed them, I'm not going to do what you want me to do. He's already done this. He should have that moment. LBJ, who wanted it more than anything, he lived for this. He lived for it. Nobody had ambition. Nobody was as crazed as he was. He said, I'm not going to win. It was merely, I'm not going to win. He's the incumbent. That's all it took. I'm not going to win. I'm out of here. And then basically screwed Hubert Humphrey. Philip Petchow says, you called out the Biden win in 2020. I stopped watching. I'm back now. Well, don't get mad. There's one thing I'm telling you right now, and I cannot help this. I'm not going to be one of these rah-rah people. Hey, if I believe something, I believe it. So when I tell you something and it's good news, it's good news. Because I'm not going to say it just because you want to hear it. And there are a lot of shows, I'm not going to mention which ones, that's all they do. Yay! Well, sometimes yay is okay. Now is the time to do it. But keep in mind what's happening. But here's what I want. And this is what I want you to grasp, dear friend. I want the destruction of the Democratic Party for 10, 50. Remember, things work in 10 to 15 year increments. They don't work. It's not, a little bit here and there. They work very, very dangerously in incremental times. We work in 10-year projected. It goes back to World War I. After that, watch the globalist groups work in 10 to 15-year increments. They really know what they're doing. Charlie Calais says, don't forget about the protest during the convention in Chicago, 1968, all over again with icing on top. Oh, absolutely, dear Charlie. The whole world's watching. Remember that? The whole world's watching. The whole world's watching. Dan Rather getting roughed up on the floor. This is beautiful. But let me go back. Let's go back to this. Number one, this is critical thinking. Biden stays, Biden goes. Imagine this. We're on the dry erase board. Biden stays, goes. Next one. And he goes either by resignation, 25th Amendment. You can forget that one. That takes forever and nobody understands it. Plus, it makes Kamala the acting president. That may not mean anything to you, but she's not the president. It's a weird thing. It's just, John Tyler in 1841, he said, oh, no. After William Henry Harrison, that goes, I'm the president. That's what the 25th Amendment was ultimately started for. Anyway, so how did they get rid of him? Impeach him. Okay? Impeach him. And if they impeach him, the Democrats have to use and enlist and solicit the help of the Republicans. The Republicans are loving this. Excuse me, we wanted to impeach him. I know. We wanted to impeach Biden before. I know. And now you want to impeach him? Well, yeah. And now you need our help to impeach your guy? Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not sure about that. I don't know if I want to do that. Not too sure about that. Not too sure. George says, do you think DJ2 will win like Nixon in 72? First, landslides? No. Remember, in 72, when he beat McGovern only won Massachusetts and D.C., whatever, I think. And not even his own state. It was brutal. I don't know. But understand something. Let's go back to this. Biden, in or out? There's another way Biden leaves. I'm not going to say it, but Biden's paid a visit. Not paid a visit, he's spoken to. And Biden says they really need to talk to him. And somebody needs to say, and it can be, it's a variety of, it's an overt threat. Threatening Junior or Hunter, threatening him, threatening his brother, going after and showing everybody. Remember what they're going to do, and listen to me carefully. They're going to show, attention, all you Democrats, what you're about to see right now, this is what happens to any of you if you ever try to do this again. When we go to see you, when we send all of our A-teamers up there and you don't leave and you make a fool out of us, watch what we have to do. Watch what we do. Don't forget what Schumer said. They'll get you 6 ways a Sunday. Seeking finding, says Joe Biden is a sociopath. He will never leave as long as he has campaign money. No. He's doing this for different reasons. And it's either A, he is indeed a psychopath. He's a psychopath, okay? He's a psychopath in that he cannot appreciate consequence. Not all psychopaths do terrible things like kill people and things like that. How do I say this? He does not appreciate consequence. He also may be in the throes of a grand delusion. This idea that perhaps because of the mental illness, I don't know. But I would love to sit down with Obama and say, you look like the biggest jerk ever. Ever. You and Bill. You're supposed to be running this. Hell, you've got a home in Colorado, whatever. You live in D.C. with your wife. You stayed there. You said one time you wish you could be that person who steps off the set and speaks to people in that microphone. That's what you said. You said that's what you wanted to do. That you wanted to be able to exert some form of control. You're not controlling anything. You look like an idiot. They're looking at you like, do something. I don't know what to do. George says, why did Nixon win so large in 72? Vietnam? I would think it was McGovern and others as well, and big problems. JTE says, thoughts on Archbishop Vigano. He was excommunicated by Pope Francis. Says the election of papacy should be null and void. He's a Jesuit, and the deep state merged with it. Biden knows this. Vegano. Wow. Papal archenemy, Archbishop Vigano, found guilty of schism and excommunicated. A fierce ultra-conservative, the Archbishop branded the Pope a false prophet and a servant of Satan and accused him of representing an inclusive, immigrationist, eco-sustainable, and gay-friendly church. I love this man. I love this man. Pilgrim says, who's Sleepy Joe's BB Rebozo? None. It's his son. He only has Hunter and his wife, Jill. That's it. Now, number 2, let me ask you, who's next in line? This is critical. Who's next? Okay, you're going to say, well, obviously Kamala. Is Kamala ready? Do you think do you think anybody in the Democratic Party is happy about Kamala? Seriously. They never made her a part of it. She was disliked. They gave her that stupid, remember Green New Deal she tried to do? She was in charge of going to the border. It was a joke. She has been seen as a cackling, logorrheic fool since day one. They have no bench. They have no bench. This is I don't think you understand this. I don't think this. I don't think you can possibly grasp how incredible this is, because this has never even remotely happened in any way. It's never happened. There has never been this complete and total turmoil. They're going to be writing papers about this. You have a Democratic president who won't leave. Let me say this again. He won't leave. You've got this fool. George wants him as Trump's VP, Vigano. You know what? I might. That's that spiritual connection. You might be onto something there. Anybody who dares speak against power, truth to power, I just love that immensely. Now, we got to talk about our boy. We got to talk about what happens right now. If I'm sitting there, guess who looks better than ever? Gavin Newsom. Oh my God. Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer. Gavin Newsom. Whitmer, listen, I sound like Dershowitz now. I am telling you, he would be perfect, because here's the way they sell him. Listen, we need somebody to come in right now and fix this. Somebody right now to fix this and fix it good. And it's just gone. It's just gone for what's her name? By the way, B. Wakul, he's the Aussier, said, damn, U.S. politics is interesting. We must have an effeminate, woke, commie PM with rent-a-girlfriend. Censors making this difficult. I understand better, and I'm telling you what, it makes what you're saying even more interesting by virtue of that particular way of writing. And I thank you for that. Let's go back to Gavin Newsom. Gavin, you got to go in there. You got to save the day. Okay, I can do it. Gavin, we need you. Go in and sell this nonsense. Sell this stuff. Sell this business. Sell this, whatever the hell it is that you sell. We need you. We need you drastically. Joe's in trouble. Go out and talk about whatever the hell it is. Just look normal. We'll get rid of him. We'll take care of him. Don't worry about Joe. What's going to happen? Don't worry about Joe. And George says, by the way, Kate update, storm past, or the new DB Cooper. We're not talking about Kate right now, my friends. Believe me, now we are not talking about her. We're not talking about Richie Sunak, the new PM. We're not talking about Marine Le Pen. We're not talking about any of that. Vigano, maybe, God bless him. We're talking about something that I've never seen. The Democratic Party is dead. They will be dead for the next 10 years. They are through. They are finished. I can't say this enough. And people are so sick of it. So sick of it. This is the part. There were these other folks too. The Bernies, the Elizabeth Warrens, the Squad, the DEI folks, all of these idiots. And also, I forgot to tell you this, and this is something also critical. They're going to go back and they're going to start reviewing things. They're going to start saying, wait a minute. You know, it's funny. Now that you mention it, you know, we knew this about Joe, or this happened, or didn't happen, or this was a problem then. This iteration of the Democratic Party completely lost the big donors. Puberty blockers, trans athletes, George Floyd riots, Antifa, BLM, borders, COVID, TikTok, and at that time, or actually Twitter, censorship. Just go down the list. Complete and total, incomprehensible, breathtakingly incoherent foreign policy. Now they're looking at him and they're saying, what did we do? What was this about? What did we accomplish? The economy it has cratered. What do we have to show for this? What? How much longer? I'm telling you. Thank you, God. Thank you. Oh, and how would you like to be one of those prosecutors? How would you like to be Jack Smith now? Hey, anybody want to talk about Mar-a-Lago? Shut up. Anybody want to talk about J6? There may be another J6, and it may be by a bunch of Democrats. Eric Hatcher said, Newsom cuts in line. Oh, man, this is going to be better than any McDonald's fight ever shown on YouTube. You're right about that. And they're going to tell him, they're going to say, listen, folks, the reason why Newsom's got to come in here is because Kamala has been associated with Joe for so long. Kamala has been part and parcel with what the public believes to be this aiding and abetting, this canard, this lie. She's been a part of this. They're pissed off. Big time. We got to get rid of her. She's a liability. Forget the black woman and all that stuff. No, it's done. She and Joe are like this. She's even doing it right now. And she's stuck because she's saying, what am I going to do? I can't, under the rules, I can't turn my back on him now. I'm his vice president. There are rules of decorum. You know, I mean, no matter what you say, nobody's ever going to trust Mike Pence, even the Democrats. Nobody. Once you're a rat, just like in organized crime, if you're a rat, you rat out, the mob, nobody trusts you. Even the cops, even the FBI, they don't like you. They don't respect you. They need you. But nobody ever trusts a sellout. Nobody trusts a rat. This is the most wonderful thing in the world. Rob Reiner. And as they step back, it's like you're going to sit back and you're going to say, okay, sit back, Mr. Democratic donor. Let me point out a couple of things to you. First, your party has been absolutely held hostage by the Hollyweird folks for the longest time. These people are into child trafficking, human trafficking, predation, and blackmail. It goes back way before that dude who was offed, perhaps, maybe, in this most unceremonious of ways. What are you going to do now about it? You don't even have a plan. Your party doesn't have a plan, doesn't have a bench, doesn't have a platform, doesn't have a vision. I cannot wait. Let's go to Chicago. I want to hear this. What are they saying? 42 days. Nobody is prepared for this. Nobody. Whoever jumps in is like, okay. It's like when Humphrey came in, they said, okay, well, if there's no LBJ, I'll do the best I can. Georgia Keene says, I may need a Lionel courier pigeon with a YouTube sensor. You're doing just fine, my friend. I think it makes the messaging even more exciting by virtue of the semiotics that are somehow appended to it to give it that symbology sense. This is great. I've never been happier in my life. I have never in my life, well, I should be happier, but nothing as exciting as it. Nothing. And here's the best part. It takes time to develop like, I would love to be on a Fox News show and say, hey, Ducey, what do you think the chances are of them rigging this election? You will just, you will completely just, they don't talk about this. Imagine being Fox News and they can't even talk about election integrity. Because if they try to steal this one, they'll be caught. There's no way anybody's going to buy it. There's no way anybody. You do realize that Biden cannot, if Biden gets 68, 70 million votes, they're going to say, no. That didn't, no. So it's not too big to rig. It's too sick to rig. Do you hear what I'm saying? They cannot do this again. They cannot do it again. Remember the results last time, the 2020 elections. These were the biggies. This was supposedly the story. This is, let me see this. Those actual, I'm looking at all. Oh, and you can, by the way, forget anything involving like real clear politics. He got supposedly 81.3 million votes. 81.3 million votes. And Trump got 74.2 million votes. You understand, I'm sure you do, that they can't rig this. They can't. He can't win. There's no way that an old man barricaded in the White House yelling, go away, is going to win. They can't do it. So how do they get him out? On my private channel, I've intimated, but I don't want to say that here. You never know. See, one of the things that you always got to be careful about is, there's a great Bob Grant used to say, I can't say it, but I can think it. I have never seen anything like this. What is the biggest fact that gets you going the most? What is the one thing that you say, this is the best part about the whole thing? The one fact. Mine's very simple. He won't leave. It's very simple. Obama is powerless. He just lost face among everybody. Obama can't say, I'm going to go talk to him. Next thing you know, he's giving up. Right, Joe? Yeah, okay. Nothing. Hey, Bill. Bill's going. I think Bill's got a little part. Bill's got a bit of he's got that slack jaw, got that flat. He's not looking too good, Bill. He's not looking too good. They can't rig it. It's working now, the phone. I was trying to yell at you.
No, I mean, it was hiding in it.
We got this damn. We have this. I don't know about you. Couple of things here. First, we have an iPhone. Up at certain levels, we have to use the landline. It just doesn't work. I'm at the phone, at the window. Hello. That's number one. Number two, I'm getting emails from, hey, Connie, want to meet for the manicure? Who the hell is this? Delete and block. I don't know who these people are. Then I'm getting these things that say, hey, the sleep mode keeps going on. And people say, you can't take any text messages. Something is very, very odd. George Keene says, will DJT win, and will Joe Biden and Jill be the White House squatters? Interesting. By the way, did you hear about Vigano excommunicated? What? Vigano excommunicated by Pope, by Frank, by Bergoglio. Called him the disciple of Satan. Oh, he's gone. This is the greatest thing in the world. Disciple of Satan. This is the most incredible thing in the world. I love this. Madam Stamp says, hi, Lionel. Hello, madam. TJT is an interloper in their world. No man is more hated and feared. It doesn't matter. Here's the best one. He's in. And he can say, don't look at me. Don't look at me. See, I would love if Trump would say things like, you know what's the worst part about this? And I am very upset. What's that, President Trump? I didn't even really win. I mean, they just imploded. I mean, I know I'm good, and I guess I'm happy, but I didn't. I mean, I always knew Joe was bad, and I always knew he was crazy and out of his mind, but apparently they didn't. So understand level 2, level 3 of this. Everything changes. All of those rats, all of those quizzlings, all of those co-defendants in these horrible, rancid, terrible people who represent what? Oh, all those people who represent the media, they're thrown in as well. You hid them. Hey, don't look at me. And Joe Scarborough, they're going to bounce his ass and that wife so fast. Even the people there are saying, get rid of him. He makes us look like a joke. He's sucking up to this guy. He's crazy. Get rid of him. You know who runs the show there? Rachel Maddow. Oh, yeah. Believe it or not, she runs it. George Keane says, how do you think DJT will announce a vice president pick? It's going to be Ben Carson. I've wanted this for the longest time. I don't know. Mrs. L thinks it'd be Bergam or Berg. Yeah. It doesn't matter. I hate to say it. It doesn't matter. That's the least important of anything at this point. It doesn't matter. Good. He gets him. Good, whatever. Fine. Doesn't matter. The question is, Mr. President, don't blow it. Start talking about things like how you and your administration are going to work to reverse and to address degenerative brain diseases and dementia. JTE says the conspiracy is Biden knows Obama merged the deep state with tax-exempt Vatican. Now we traffic kids. Joe has the dirt and won't leave office. No. Who's going to listen to Joe? This idea of I've got the dirt. No. You better have pictures. You better have pictures. Not the dirt. Do you know how much dirt? Everybody's got dirt. Hey, Oprah. What about those girls? What about those guys? Hey, Tyler Perry. You want to go through? You want to go through it? Hey, Spielberg. Hey, whatever. You want to talk about? Let's go back to hey, Drew Barrymore. Come here and tell us about when you were a kid actor. And and also here's a great one too. Brooke Shields. We're going to talk to you as well. You want to? We can spend the next 5 years just going through this. George Keane says, how will he? Truth Socials at the convention. I don't know. I don't mean to belabor the point, and I don't mean to in any way dispel anybody's excitement, but on a scale of 1 to 10, vice presidential pick now is the least of the issues. Who cares? The Democrats are dying. They're imploding. This is why I'm saying don't miss this event. Don't worry about, I hate to say it, Vigano. Hey, what about this? I wonder what Klaus Schwab's going to. That's interesting. This is what we've been waiting for. How do you get at these people? Newsrooms, news divisions, they're turning on each other. Brian Stelter was so desperate, along with KJP, to an extent she gets a pass. He actually perpetuated this cheap, fake business. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about? He pulled He actually came out and said to everybody there, let me explain cheap fakes after G7. He said this. He was so desperate, so pathetic, so desirous to get back, just like Chris Cuomo. Remember when Chris Cuomo was floating that story? Well, CNN's looking at me. No, they're not. I just want to get out of here. He can't wait to get out of here. All that stuff is done. It's finished. It's boring. It's boring. This is a passion play. This is opera bouffe. This is Greek tragedy and drama. This is the stuff. Think about it. It's almost like Evita Peron and Juan Peron with it's Edith Wilson. Oh my God. JTE says he's spelling the T with Tiffany Henyard. Okie dokie. George says, you just made me think of Ben Carson as the VP pick. His nomination speech would be giving a medical analysis of Joe Biden's actual issues. Well, it's funny you say that. See, this is the part that I don't understand. Why are we even pretending that we need to have a diagnosis? If you come in, if your daughter you haven't seen your daughter in a while, she's 8.5 months pregnant, and she's about to split. I mean, she's about to just explode. And you say, what are you doing? Why didn't you tell me you were pregnant? Who says I'm pregnant? Do you know I'm pregnant? Have you talked to a doctor? What? Have you talked to a doctor? Are you an OBGYN? Do you know what pregnancy is? Have you seen any lab results? Lab results? You're pregnant. How? Oh, you're a doctor now? You're a doctor? No, but you're pregnant. What are you talking about? That's what it is for us to be saying, did he talk to the neurologist? You want to talk to somebody? Go ahead. It's like somebody being on the deathbed, God forbid, and Uncle Dave is about to go and you say, can we have a second opinion here? No, he's on his way out. There's no second opinion. You don't understand what's happening here. This is the part. This is the end of the Democratic Party. This is the end of Obama. This is the end of Bill Clinton. This is the end of Hillary. They can't control an 81-year-old coot with his phony baloney wife and this crack addict syphilitic son. I don't know if he's got syph, but he wouldn't surprise me. Do you hear what I'm saying? This is the issue. And then they're going to turn to the DNC leadership and says, who do we have? I don't know. What do you mean? Every radio TV station used to have this list that says, if somebody dies, somebody gets killed, somebody just shows up, your main guy, what are you going to do? Where's the transition? Where's the B team? Say what you want about Fox News. Those jadrules in the morning and the weekend, they're next. They're next. Makes you wonder the fact that they've got to wait for, whiz bangs like Judge Janine to get out of the way. George Keene says, maybe I'm a weirdo and over-involved, but anyone remotely paying attention knew Joe Biden was gone with Pops. Yes, with Corn Pop in 2017, plus all the live action video. That's precisely what I've been. Absolutely. Corn Pop was a bad dude when he went off and looked out and he talked about how tough he was and he would almost like lose himself. He would go off into these weird, inappropriate, these diatribes, these endless screeds, this angry yelling and screaming about. Now, I keep having to tell you this. Possibilities. Joe, Kamala, Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom. Do you know the dirt they got on Gavin Newsom? Oh my God. He's there. He's already there. They are looking through this right now. They're saying we've got 42 days until the convention. What are they going to do? Can you imagine going to that convention? Hey, where's Joe? It's a long story. What do you mean it's a long story? And Joe Biden outsmarted and outpositioned Barack Obama. This is the greatest thing ever. Barack Obama. Oh, people said, well, you know, he's calling the shots. Barack Obama's calling the shots. What are you talking about? Oh, he's calling the shots. He's not calling any shots. What are you talking about? Oh, no, he's the deep state. No, he's not. Oh, yes, he is. No, he's not. Absolutely not. And remember we were at a meeting, I think one time, and we were on a kind of a dais sort of, and believe it or not, it was Dick Morris. And Dick Morris said it was going to be Michelle Obama. He's still saying, I said, Dick, because that's his name, I said, you're out of your mind. I know what I'm talking about. She wants to be Oprah. She doesn't want to do this. What are you talking about? Well, you know, they need a black woman. No, they don't. She's not. She's an Asian. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. George says, following a last Supreme Court, if people didn't know Joe Biden was gone until the debate, then how dumb is the population to believe the propaganda? Baghdad Bob, come back. Oh, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that up. Baghdad Bob, that's this. Baghdad Bob is Joe Scarborough. Everything's great. I used to be, I swear to God, I'm not going to mention his name. There was a guy who was a kind of a meteorologist, a media meteorologist. And I said, when are you going to do something about, because he had this thing, this show on where he would say on his show, hey, write me a letter. Hey, whatever your name is, what's the difference between a cumulus, nebulous, and a, well, it's a good question. And what's a thunderhead? And it would ask, you know, they could go to schools and talk to kids. And I said, when are you going to do something about geoengineering? He said, what? I said, the spraying in the skies. What? The spraying. Look. I said, see the haze? Yeah, those aren't clouds. Can you see the plane? At one time I said, come here, look, see the plane? see the spray? And I'm thinking, am I losing my mind here? I said, do you see this? I said, now don't call them chemtrails. What? He never heard of chemtrails. He never heard of anything. He's talking about clouds, and there's patchwork octothorpes and I said, this is called geoengineering. And I would send him, I said, click this Google geoengineering. Look at all of the dimming, solar radiation management. The point that I'm saying, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because George asked a quick case. Didn't these people know he was crazy? Don't people know that they're spraying when they can see planes spraying? I don't know. I don't understand any of this. I'm still asking people, why are you wearing a mask? Better yet, why are you wearing a mask under your chin? What the is the matter with you? People are just, so George, you ask a question, don't they realize? No, they don't realize. I guess. Nobody reads, it's like nobody has that part that says, that's a good question. I never really thought about it. You know, that's kind of weird. Yeah, that's really strange. People don't think. You know what's so funny when they say, I used to always ask, do you ever see any pictures of Obama and Michelle, like, dating? Do you ever see pictures of, like, their wedding? You did about George Bush and his wife. Do you ever notice anything about that? People knew not. People never even cared. I don't want to bring up, please, this stuff. So you asked the question, Why didn't they know? Why didn't they realize Hillary was neurologically, she was going like this? Remember that? Remember the night of the Democratic convention? Or their mouth open because of the lights? She had Fresnel lenses. The Secret Service guy with the benzo pen. Jesus, I'm thinking, am I the? Is this a conspiracy? Is this a joke? Are you doing this just because you're trying to make me go crazy, or you're all sworn to not say anything about this? I've been going through this my whole life. How do you not notice it? When I was a kid, when Kennedy's head went like this, how are people discussing whether there was another shooter? What are you talking? Yes. Yes. Then in 75, there's a Zapruder film. Well, that was really it because we saw it. Any questions? Well, I don't know. That Oliver Stone. Who needs Oliver Stone? What's going on? I don't get it. I don't get it. Stratospheric aerosol injection. Oh, listen. No, don't ever say chemtrails. We don't use that word. It's called geoengineering. Don't use that word because that is specifically called a conspiracy theory and you will be immediately sidelined. Call it something else and you're on to something. Just Google that and read all of the information. All of the stuff is being done at Harvard and MIT and all over the world. And what Bill Gates is promoting is called the dimming. Read our good friend from geoengineeringwatch.org. All right, we're getting off into that. My point is that was an analogy. We go through this. Mrs. L always says, why doesn't anybody talk about missing kids? What do you need to know about? Hello, what is going on? We don't understand this. Going back to George's thing. So let me just tell you something. I gave up years ago thinking that I can get America to pay attention. All I know is I take whatever I can get, whatever that's happy, whatever that's beneficial, whatever that's indicative of somebody at least maybe showing some kind of interest in what's happening. But this is the best part. This is the end. The Democratic Party has suffered like you cannot believe. The Democratic Party, you have no earthly idea how they have suffered. They are sitting back and they're flabbergasted. They're saying, I never knew nobody was involved. Nobody. Or was in charge. Nobody was in charge. Nobody was in charge. Nobody. Yeah, but I thought for sure that. Yeah, but don't you think that? And I'm telling you, I swear to you, this is the greatest news, and you should be so happy. Barack Obama is the biggest nothing that anybody's ever seen. They can't believe what's happened. Barack Obama is nothing. If this were anybody else, if this were in the days of LBJ, Tip O'Neill, party stalwarts, even people like Everett Dirksen, I mean, anybody, Mike Mansfield, Real Power, Bob Dole, Reagan, you think you could have pulled this off? There's no elder statesman. 2 living ex-presidents can't talk this old coot off the ledge? Are you kidding me? I'm repeating myself. I know I am. George Keane says, could you and Mrs. L start Lionel Nation dating so I won't die alone? Since DJT election has been quite a rough experience. But if one has ever seen skywriting, I don't know how they don't realize the X-shaped clouds aren't H2O vapor. You know, George, it's funny you say that. I've often wondered that the thing which is the most important right now, if I ever, and I can't imagine, if anything, God forbid, ever happens to this beautiful woman, I'm through. You were a rock star when you were leaving the 13th. Well, thank you, sir. You have my sympathy if you're out there trying to meet anybody of note, or to meet somebody who's not a nut or a thief or crazy or some drug addict or somebody with psychological problems, but somebody who even knows anything. Somebody knows anything. I'm the only one in my group that is, when I hear about people in their 60s, 70s going out with somebody who's like, who was it? Bill Belichick. He's got some girlfriend who's what, 30 years, 20 years old? I don't know what it is. 20, 30. Yeah, I'm thinking, you have to talk to him? I can't talk to him. Yeah, 23. It's like, what does the matter with you? This is weird. This is like Freudian. This is, I got to have somebody that I can talk to about things. I swear to God. In fact, whenever Mrs. L, God forbid, we go, it's anybody, no matter what it is like, oh God, don't bring anything up. So what do you think about Biden? Oh God, where do I start? Half of what I say, I got to like, okay, let me see. Let me bring it down to a third grade level. Let me eliminate all the good stuff, which would take me an hour just to explain it. So I was like, well, it should be interesting. I'm very good at that now. It should be interesting. What do you mean? Well, it remains to be seen. Gordon Soley used to say that. Well, it remains to be seen. Yep, make no doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's going to real barn burner. I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting. These are crazy times, huh? How about that, Biden? That's about it. That's all I do. Because I don't even know where to go with this. Because normally it starts like this. Well, I knew he was crazy since Corn Pop. Who? Corn Pop. Huh? The guy at the pool. Who? Oh, forget it. Well, I wonder what they're going to do with Jim Biden. Who? After the Bobolinsky thing. Who? Well, I heard it on Tucker. Who? Forget. It sounds like a bunch of owls. They say, what? Who? Huh? What? George, you're going to make me cry. Want to make a date run the other way? Open by asking them their thoughts on the Federal Reserve. She turns into a dust cloud running away. Well, I don't think that's an art of seduction. That's probably not a good move. But I'll tell you what, though. Believe it or not. Just now, I don't know if you know this, but just now when I said, hey, did you hear Vigano left? What? That's why I love her. How many men can turn and say, some obscurantist, so to speak, some Vatican theologian, some right-wing, how many, what? And then in the morning, when we start going through our stuff, what do you hear? What's going on? Give me my stuff. She sends me stuff. It's the most intellectually stimulating thing there is. I'm not talking about Whoopi Goldberg, talking about what he can do in his pants. Whoopi Goldberg, I'm sorry, but anybody who can be that stupid and do that well, I kind of got to hand it to them. They're making millions of dollars. Enjoy Behar. Did you hear this? What about this Paramount deal? Everything is going to consolidate. Everything as you know it. Let me tell you right now. Let me tell you what's going on. I want you to listen to me very, very carefully, okay? Listen to me like you've never listened before. I'm going to try to do this. If I ran the show right now, and I said, okay, I'm in charge of, you want to do a new show? Good, I'll get rid of it. We'll do it. Everybody on Fox News will be gone. George Keane says, Vigano, you mean the fourth tenor. LOL. You are so funny. I would get people. First of all, you would have to know about the news to watch the news. You would have to know about the news to watch the news on my show, on my channel. You would not do I would go through a list. I would get people, and I mean, not necessarily, it doesn't matter whether I like them and all this stuff. Look at George. George Keane says, it's rough, but I won't abandon DJT for anything. We didn't do it. Like I told you, we didn't do it. We never did this. It would have been a lot. Believe me, to this day, I never forget when Mrs. L was sitting there talking to a bunch of people about what Donald Trump did for missing and murdered Indigenous people at a group of people supposedly interested in missing and murdered Indigenous people. And Mrs. L says, I know for a fact that Donald Trump did this. I was there in the White House. I sat behind Bill Barr. I was there with Ivanka Trump. I was there with people. There were 100, I don't know how many people, but 100 people all over the country, tribes. And this numbnuts says, yeah, but I heard Trump close down a library. Let me show you something. Do you know what this is? Whenever Mrs. L dance, if you want to see her dance, I make this, when we dance, you've never seen, it's like two weasels going at each other. And I make this, look at this, honey. You've seen this one? Right. Well, this was Bruno Sammartino, supposedly. I mean, the story was he's walking back to the ring or the dressing room. And he was beat. He did a hell of a job. And this fan or whatever is yelling at him. And he was dripping and just soaking sweat. I mean, pouring down. So he took his hand, he cupped it, and he put it like right between his legs so he can get all this inguinal and axillary, all this sweat. He gets a nice amount, and he goes like that. And that was it. And the guy just sat there. He just walked away. And that's what I want to say. Or as we say in Ybor City or West Tampa, blagada. All right, dear friends, I have been with you an hour and 37 minutes. I was waiting today. Is this going to be? I can't wait for this. Can we do this early? I hope you recognize my zeal is earned. So let me tell you something, my friends. Bob Andrieslack, new member, Noel Taylor, cloned Steve Dreamkiller. By the way, that story you said about the man with Lewy body dementia, just wow. Unbelievable. Evan Webb, KN, roller skin SAG actor, K-Boy, YouTube, LJ Jackson, thank you, Pilgrim Media, KN, Robert Malloy, everybody, Evan Webb, CR, Philip Petchow Boys. Remember what was her name? Donna Petchow from Pesca. Remember she was from Saturday Night Fever? Angie, right. Only you would know that. She does the show Angie. Talk about obscure. George Keane, you are all over the place. By the way, ladies, George Keane's available. Okay? He's a mensch. I personally vouch for him. You know how to reach him. I hope you know how to reach each other. Sean Lucan, thank you so much. Let me just go through this. Anybody who's nice enough to contribute, I'm going to mention your name. Charlie Calais, thank you. Seekin' Findin', get it? Very punny, going to put you in the penitentiary. JTE, Mr. Media again, thank you. B. Wakul, Aussie here. Thank you so much. Eric Hatchett. Keep an eye on Newsom. Madam Stamp, we thank you. George Keane, thank you. And I believe that is it. Thank you so very, very much, dear friends. Thank you so much. This is, of course, remember, a couple of things. Cutting Room, October the 26th, 10 days before whatever the election is going to be. Can you imagine that? And also, dear friends, follow Mrs. L at YouTube. Let me give it. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, she's warning. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. I got to get to this one. There's that. I go there. This is tough. This is tough. Okay, here's a story. These two, I'm going to give you this. There we go. This is Mrs. L. She did a story today with a mother who lost her son with fentanyl. Just innocent. Please tell your kids, make sure you pull your everybody, your kids, your grandkids, and you say, listen, I'm not telling you not to use drugs, though that's a good idea. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that never take anything from anybody. An aspirin, anything. People are dropping like flies. Fentanyl, by the way, in and of itself is a great drug if purchased, if administered correctly. But what you're getting is not fentanyl. It's a synthetic, it's a poison. It's meant to kill you. So that's Mrs. L. Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. She talks to the most incredible people. And her mission is to stop child predation, also human trafficking, but also to protect children. And the newest thing right now is digital safety will help that. But also this fentanyl, this drug. And it's not drug. We're not talking about don't do drugs, don't smoke dope, and that's true. That's not it. This isn't about drug abuse. It's about people using or slipping poisons into it. All right, my friends, you have a great night. An hour and 41 minutes. Thank you for letting me share with you my excitement. This is so wonderful because the Democrats are through. Absolutely, positively through. And the biggest one who's through is Barack Obama because he can't even stop this. All right, I'm repeating myself. Have a great night, my friends. See you tomorrow, 8 a.m. per usual. Don't forget, subscribe to Lionel Nation. Make sure you're still subscribed because for some reason people are unsubscribed. Oh, George Dean says, could you see my last super chat? I did not. Hang on a second. Just 1 second. There's Pete 018. Sorry about that. George says, you said weasel, and that reminded me, will you make a song about Fannie and Wade for the cutting room? You know what? I think I should. The ballad of Fannie and Wade. Indeed. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious night. George, good evening, sir. Thank you for your beneficence and your wisdom. See you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Don't forget, and until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da, da.